Hello, everyone, and welcome to our conversation today on technology. My name is Daryl Smith, and joining me are two of my colleagues here at Kettler.
Hi, I'm Jesika Evans, Senior Regional Property Manager.
And I'm Isiah Williams, Community Manager.
Well, thank you both, Isaiah and Jessica, for joining me this afternoon to talk about technology. I'm really excited about technology. As you guys both know, I love innovation. In my personal life, technology is a little different. I feel like I have this cloud over me where technology doesn't work. But in my professional life, I really enjoy it because I love connecting our consumers, people, if you will, to technology and how we can help make their day, a little bit better through technology. And certainly the other part of that is for you all who deliver on our brand standards and our customer experience, how do we also reduce friction for you? So I want to spend some time just talking a little bit about what we put together at Kettler, how it's working for both of you. And you guys are two distinct users for us. Jessica, you're a regional property manager. Isiah, you're a community manager. And so both of you are receivers of our technology and innovation strategy in different ways. Same objective of making sure that customer experience is fluid and that our customers are responding to it in a very timely manner. But you guys exercise in very different ways. And so I want to start with just doing a broad stroke of what technology has meant to us as a company, as a strategy. And one of our big goals is to really make it easier for consumers to engage with us. But first, I think it's really important to define who are our consumers. So for us, having a hybrid operational model as an organization, our principal customer is our clients. Our clients bring us the properties, they bring us the opportunities, and then our secondary customer, of course, is that B2C customer, our residents. And so really satisfying both of those distinct audiences along with you guys as end users is really an important part of our strategy and an objective of our strategy. So for owners, how are we able to close deals and bring in that revenue in a timely manner? For consumers, how are we able to engage without any friction to be able to get to leasing, to be able to get to some of those residential experiential touch points? And so we've really been developing a roadmap, which you two, by the way, have been really involved in focus groups, the planning of the technology and the relevancy of that technology to our consumers, most importantly, also to you guys to be able to engage them. So just I want to start with you. You and I have been pretty much joined at the hip for a long time since I walked in the door. And the one thing I really appreciated about you is just your love and passion about innovation. But not only that, our brand and how our brand can really serve our consumers. We've implemented things like bots and other standards to be able to create efficiencies. From an RPM standpoint, how would you say that experience has been for you to be able to implement those standards so that we can have that user frictionless sort of engagement, if you will?
So Daryl, it's been amazing, right? As well as I know, I love technology as well, personally and professionally. And so, I always have fun. I'm always asking, Daryl, what can I try? What can I test? What can I do? And so it's always fun when we get to see things roll out and we get to see things that come out to the properties or for myself, me and my colleagues to be able to utilize, to be able to enhance our roles to monitor our communities or, create things that just make certain processes seamless. So it's really been a great experience. One, when I think about it, like some of the things that I really enjoy just kind of talking about the cohesion and how we bring everything together and how we're able to monitor the standards that we have in place. Certain things we have, like we have strategic playbook, which is really an encompassing totality, I should say, of, looking at how the teams are posting their social media ads, looking at how the teams are responding to resident concerns or positive reviews that we receive from residents. And, the thing that I like about it is this report's rolled up. I'm able to monitor that my team is responding on time to the customer, to their reviews. I'm able to ensure that our cues for our new prospects or, even residents that communicate with us via our phone number, our call center, that they're being responded to in a timely manner. Social media posts are being done. So all of those things are really unique and I can appreciate and really benefit.
Yeah, and I'm really glad you brought up the playbook because the playbook has been an essential part of our operations and our standards. And I love that you use the word cohesion. God, not your favorite. We talked a lot about cohesion last year. As we start to build out a brand experience, we know we need that level of consistency. We won't be like Chick-fil-A where we're wearing red uniforms, but it's more of that operational performance that, again, our primary consumer owners can depend on for that delivery of experience. So there's the technology, but there's also then behind the technology, how do you use it? What's the expectation? How do we measure that performance? Oftentimes you'll hear our president, Cindy Fisher, really articulate, hey, can this be measured? She wants to make sure that those standards and that delivery mechanism and pathway can be measured so that we're reaching those goals. And then we can also articulate back to our clients, hey, we are being successful, and this is how we go. With that, and utilizing these playbooks to help you engage the operational performance and manage your teams with that, how would you say that you've seen, or I should say, what elevation have you seen in your role as an RPM to be better, more efficient in terms of having insight on that performance versus before we started repositioning standards and then adding in that technology to fill in the gaps?
Mhm. Well, definitely. So one of the things that I noticed, like when I was on site myself as a community manager, assistant manager, we had goals to post social media ads as an example, or respond to customers. But with the strategic playbook, what it does is it really monitors and it has those checkpoints. And something that I love personally is that our marketing managers also review the social media posts. So that ensures that we're all consistently representing Kettler to the brand
It's
that,
a
that we
cohesion.
built. Exactly, that cohesion. And so, that's also a nice point. They're monitoring the ads. They'll reject the ad if the post, I should say, or sad, but they'll reject the post if it's something that's not appropriate or doesn't really tie in with the community at large for the property, which I appreciate. So now we have our social media pages, Facebook or X, whatever we have, whatever we utilize, that are cohesive, they're professional, they look good. We can reference them when we're having new move-ins or new customers, or even when we're talking to our clients. It's something that's nice to be able to say, I know for a fact that I can monitor how my team is interacting with, the market socially and how they're responding to customers, and, that all of our internet leads are being responded to. And so that's how it's personally helped me, because, it just gives me that confidence and that backup that I know and can put my finger on it that this is being done.
Yeah. And we really evolved as an organization to become more data centric. And so with that, as an RPM, we've been doing things like focus groups to understand what you need, but then we also recently just did some employee surveys as well as user surveys about the sales centric process and how that playbook is working. As we think about cohesion and consistency, and as an RPM where you have 6, 7, 8, 9 plus properties in your portfolio, do you find that the standards coupled with the technology enablement gives you the ability to see across that portfolio how everybody's performing versus before I used to call it cherry picking, where I can kind of see what's happening here and I'm focused on this, but then now there's a level of consistency that the brand says, hey, I expect these things on a daily, weekly, quarterly basis to be executed. Have you found that there's a better enablement for your role as an RPM? With that approach?
Absolutely. And, I've talked a lot about our strategic playbook. And so I'm going to pivot just a little bit and talk about some of the other products that we utilize. One of the products that we utilize, it's a system that creates all of the reports and the data that's put into it from our resident software database. And it creates reports. And so as an RPM on Monday morning, when I start the week, I can go in and I can pull the reports for my portfolio. The nice thing that I appreciate is not only can I look at my portfolio and measure their performance amongst themselves, I can also look at other portfolios and other states or, other areas, and I can see how we're performing compared to those. And so that's nice as well, because we may have a client that, it may be slow in the market for that week. And I'm able to literally look and see, down the street or, a different state, are we experiencing the same thing? Is it seasonal? Is it something that we need to adjust from our end? So it's just helpful from that regard. And then, of course, as a regional property manager and, dealing with a client, there's always those things that you want to focus on as far as like the financial performance of the properties as well. And so those tools that we have in place that Kettler has set up, we're able to look even from a financial standpoint and see how are we meeting our goals? Are we meeting budget? Are we far from budget? How many move-ins do we need to achieve what we need to, get to so that we can hit our goals? And so all of those tools are really, really helpful for me because, again, like you said, instead of having to go through and cherry pick and say, okay, this week I'm going to focus on this property because, I think that I've seen some things that might need attention. Having that portfolio or that platform, I should say, that allows me to look at everything across the board. It allows me to really determine who needs help. What do I need to focus on? What areas are we maybe falling behind? And so that's incredibly helpful for me.
And I'm glad you used the word platform. platform has been that descriptor we've utilized to really talk about our brand experience. So we onboard clients, we onboard them to a platform. The platform is about products, but it's also about measurable experience through our standards and how we execute that. Again, thinking about both of you as two distinct users of technology and of our standards, as an RPM, how has that enriched your career and also your opportunity to engage with clients and having these technologies and standards together?
Yeah. So, Daryl, just like I said, I think that having the ability to showcase that we have access to data, not just in our circle, but even further, it helps because clients like to compare. They like to see how others are performing. They like to see, how their property is measuring up against others. And so having that right at my fingertips gives me the ability to be able to provide that data. Even when we went through, I hate to still talk about it, but the pandemic, where delinquency was a little bit higher in certain areas, we were able to really pull data from different points, different neighborhoods even, and say, okay, lease ups in this neighborhood are experiencing this, and this is where we fall, or stabilized communities in this neighborhood, we're seeing a little bit heightened level of delinquency. And so, it's just really helpful to be able to present multiple data points for our clients so that they can look and see, okay, one, we know exactly what's going on, which they can appreciate as as us being their management company, but also, it gives them a preview into certain things. And I know, Kettler even offers certain access to our clients with certain products that we use where they're able to also look in and see, which is helpful. So they can run certain reports or, kind of look at different levels. They have to get training first, of course, so they can work through the tools properly. But it's just nice knowing that we're all talking and marching to the same data points and to the same information.
So it's allowed you to sync with clients, to be on the same page with them and have, set expectations that are mutual. But I think more importantly, I think it also enriches your opportunity to know that market and to be able to articulate that in a very detailed and prescriptive way to our clients. And you're right, everybody needs to be market solid, knowledgeable, if you will. And it sounds like, technology coupled with these standards across your portfolio allows you to see that performance in a much more universal way, as opposed to I got to access this system and see things. I got to go to this database and see things. I can see it, more globally while holding, those performance marks in place. To that extent of the latter, how is technology coupled, again, I keep using this technology and standards. And the reason why I keep emphasizing that is because standards have to enable how we use that technology. Everybody's going to use technology very differently, but you have to have a prescription on what the expectation is and how you do that to be able to be measurable. Last question for you on that before we switch over to Isiah is how are you able to hold your teams accountable for that performance? So it's great you have standards, great you have technology, but how are you able to utilize that in a way to hold your teams accountable to that performance to have a success point with clients?
Absolutely. So we have metrics, obviously at Kettler that are put out there. And the thing I like is those metrics are put out beginning of the year. We got focus points, things that we're focusing on this year. We're going to make sure that we hit X, Y, and Z. So that allows me as a regional manager, supervisor to bring that information to my team so that they know what we're focused on. But then with the technology, along with those metrics, we're able to measure it. So week over week, we can see how we're performing. It's not a surprise at the end of the year or have to wait until the monthly financials come out. We can look in real time and see how things are progressing so that we can make the pivotal moves and pivotal decisions that we need to make so that we're able to, do what we need to do to get that high performance.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, one quick last thing that came to my mind something you said is adoption. How has adoption been for your teams? Obviously, this is a huge change for us, not only us as an organization, but certainly across the industry. Other companies are also engaging in the same, business model reimagination. How has that been for your teams? Has it been a lot of friction? Obviously adoption, people are going to come into it a lot of different feelings depending on their experience, depending on their cohort representation. But what are you seeing from your portfolio?
So, I wouldn't be honest if I said that, there's always a little bit of pushback at first. Anytime there's anything new, there's always pushback. But what I try to help my teams understand is that we're a part of history. So each pivotal move that we make or each new thing that we roll out or that's adopted and that we take it and run with it, we're a part of history. We think about, the first color monitor that was created. There was changes and things that had to be done with that, but we use that even now to today. And it just has continued to enhance and improve and move forward. And so the same thing with the things that we have in our stack of what Kettler uses. Sometimes it may be a little uncomfortable at first as we're not used to it or we're getting used to it. But the more that we can adapt and embrace and find ways to utilize it to help us do our day-to-day business is the way that we'll have success. And so my teams have started to adopt that attitude as well, which has made it, incredibly easy to try new things. And now I have team members that are like, hey, when something new comes out, I would love to be, the pilot community to try it. So that's been nice as well.
Great. Well, thank you, Jessica.